My giant slalom event was postponed, and then the slalom was postponed, and then we went back to the GS, and then like basically we were race ready to go 5 or 6 days in a row, and then the slalom came on that last day, and it was just like an incredible period of time. I was so tired for that slalom, and I don't know, I have to be like energized to deal with the mental stress of competing and to hold back, kind of to choke it down.
When we were watching you in the giant slalom, I was actually sitting next to your dad, and like all parents, he was just obsessed with taking photos of you every 2 seconds. He was sitting down, he was standing up, then he was crying, then he was taking photos again. I know your mum is your coach. What is it like sharing that experience with them?
For my mom, the reaction is always really similar after I have really great races, and here it did remind me of Sochi a bit. In the GS, the second run, I had like a slight bobble at the end of the course, but generally my run was really like, I was hammering, and when I came down, I saw my mom. I could just see it on her face, and I could feel it as well that I had skied really well, and she was like, "I'm so proud of how you skied that course, like even more than the medal, but the way that I skied, it was finally the kind of skiing that we all have seen me do in training, but not as much in all the races." So that was awesome. But like my dad, he did the same thing after Sochi and did this here. He gave me a big hug and he said, "Thank you." Like, I'm not sure, like, I think he means like, thank you for showing a great performance or the emotions that we feel or something. And I'm kind of like, you're welcome? I don't know what to say. But not like, I love you, not I'm proud of you, but like, thank you. And I'm like, you bet,
thanks,
Dad.
Mikaela, as a fierce competitor, I know what you compete for success and to be the best version of yourself. But who do you compete for?
First and foremost, I compete for myself. That's where the passion comes from and the drive. And if I'm not competing for myself, then there's no point in all of it. As soon as I start feeling like I'm racing for other people, then that's when the nerves come in, that's when the pressure comes in, and that's when things start to fall apart for me. So I have to be competing for myself, and then knowing how many people are behind me, how incredibly supportive my team is and has been, that always helps me. When I'm in the start gate, I'm like, there are so many people behind me right now that are cheering and who are actually personally invested in this because they also put in the hard work.
I don't want to remind you of this, really, but I'm gonna.
Then don't.
4 years ago, I remember speaking to you and you saying...
Oh, 5 gold medals?
5 gold medals, all right? Now, what can I say?
Sorry.
What can I say?
I'm kind of wacky now.
This is still pretty cool, right? Pretty cool.
I am over the moon.
But looking ahead to Beijing, and let's say the conditions are perfect, would you aspire to go for that again?
Let's say that everything here worked out perfectly. The schedule went off without a hitch, no wind, none of that, those kinds of factors. I think the most I could have walked away from this Olympics was 3. 3 medals, not necessarily all gold. And I was not at the level with either downhill or Super G to be a real medal threat, even given my results this season and last season in speed events. Like, it was nice to dream about, but it wasn't there. So to have 2 medals, for me, that's a huge success, especially with the weather conditions. And with 4 more years under my belt, I'll have definitely a different perspective on how to manage the stress of the Olympics as well. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's possible. It's a really, really difficult thing to do, that's for sure.
As the games come to an end, looking back on your journey to this point, going way back to Vail or New Hampshire, young Mikaela, what's one thing you would want to share with her? Something that you've learned along the way?
I don't think I'd want to share anything. I love how I've learned throughout my career and everything that I have learned in the way that I've learned it at the exact time. I feel like all those things have come together and not by chance either, because people around me work incredibly hard. I learn lessons just at the right time, and I try to learn them as well as I can so I can be better next time. But everybody's obsessed with learning a lesson before they're ready to learn it.
Right.
And those kinds of things happen for a reason. I don't necessarily believe in like fate or destiny or luck. You know, I think hard work is important, but certain things are just supposed to happen when they do.